Yeah, but like, no. Like, I'm at the point where, like, literally my hands hurt. Just every single muscle. Everything just is in pain. It's like screaming at me, bro. I don't really know what to do about it. I think it's also because, like, I haven't been drinking as much water as I used to. And the chicken's just staring at me. Um, yeah. But I feel like I'm eating healthier, which maybe that's it. Like, I'm not used to doing both, really. Because, before I would be fed. Some days we didn't have food. And I think maybe that's why sometimes I just don't have an appetite. It's weird. It's really weird. I don't know how to explain it. I've been all over the place with food. Like, I feel like I have a hard time with food. I'm trying to, like, build a different relationship with food and just everything, really. And just see things through a new perspective and in a new light instead of the way I've been seeing it. And just, reconstruct things and reprogram my mind, as well as unlearning habits and ideologies and whatnot and beliefs. It just feels really overwhelming. And maybe that's why I feel the way I do, because it's just like I'm not doing the things I'd usually do, because back then, it's not like I'm not masking now, but I would mask a lot more then, where I'd just be 100% people pleasing, but now, you know, it's more of an internal people pleasing mask that I have, that I need to work through. But I think that's what I forget a lot, that I've actually made a lot of progress. Because usually, if I had been listening to, I don't know, the opinions or beliefs of others, I would be working a regular, maybe 9 to 5 or whatever, and just slaving away when I could be doing the things I love, of which I'm doing right now. And maybe that's why I feel guilty and ashamed and, all of these feelings, because I'm doing the things I want, which means letting the people that don't love me down. But I live with them, so I'm used to that. Either way, I'm used to it. I think I always bring this back to that quote from Olivia O'Brien, where she's like, they're all gonna say what they wanna say, they're all gonna talk shit anyway. I just need to love myself. And I feel like I feel like it's a really brave thing to even decide or think about loving yourself, because we live in such a toxic, is that a bee? It's so cute. I haven't seen a bee in a while. We live in such a toxic society where it's been normalized to slave away, to not actually live a life, and to just constantly people please. There's misogyny, there's racism, there's all of this shit. So it's like, when do you actually get to be yourself? When are you not masking, Because right from the age of maybe even 3 years old, you're already maybe in daycare, or at least 6 years old, you're already in school, or 5 years old. Kids aren't supposed to be molded into this disgusting fabric of society. You know, kids kids are very impressionable, and to be honest, they are primarily in a subconscious wave state, I believe. I don't know, that's the way I'm phrasing it, but essentially they're sponges, so they pick up everything around them. They literally mock people. For example, I was going through my Snapchat and I have this niece, and it was like, a memory from like when she was 4 or maybe 3 years old. I don't know. Really young. And she's like carrying a purse. She has like this fur jacket on, and like, she's wearing sunglasses. And I'm just thinking she looks like a little adult, right? So people and media and everything, sure, it's an illusion. Sure, it's an illusion, but it does highly highly influence children, you know? And the idea isn't, oh, like, have certain shows for kids or this or that. No, that's not it. The thing is, there has to be more consciousness. There are literally programs that, you know, have like, they're just subconscious programming, really. Okay, like, these kids are literally watching a screen with a shit ton of pixels and like these characters, all these different voices, different moods, and all that stuff. And they start to mimic that because they believe that is reality, especially with them being polarized, because when you're staring at a screen, you don't see anything else around you. It's like you're just, it reminds me of the zombie mushroom thing from Plants vs. Zombies, where they're just hypnotized. That's the word, hypnotized. It hypnotizes them, right? So just imagine the kids are already in a state of hypnosis simply because they're kids and, they were just birthed and shit. Like, they're not at the state of mind where a 19 or 18-year-old would be, or even whatever the age of the parent is. And if the parent or whoever the caretaker is in a survival state of mind, as well as just really unhealed and, continuing to carry generational trauma instead of healing from it and trying to change their ways, then that's going to highly impact the child. Children have no choice as to who they stay with, and that is disgusting and disturbing. I've seen the system of CPS just completely destroy children, whether that be leaving them in a toxic household or taking them to another toxic household. It's a fucked up system. CPS does not protect children. It doesn't. It doesn't give a single flying fuck about children. It's literally just human trafficking. I mean, just think about it. Like a black child, okay? A more melanated child will be sold for more. That is trafficking. And let's say a different child, they'll be sold for less because they're maybe not as melanated. Or whatever. It's like literally buying property or a dog, which is still wrong. That's fucked up. That's a dog, my dude. That's a whole animal from the earth, an earthling. You can't just breed them and be like, oh, that's gonna look nice. That's disturbing. That is sickening. But it's reality. And that's what's happening here in this world. Like, I feel like there's this law against children, something about children being sexualized, I believe. I forgot what the law is exactly, but it's like a universal thing, and there's only 3 countries out of all that have not signed it. And you want to guess who is one of them that hasn't signed the bill or treaty, whatever it is, to protect children? Do you want to know? Do you want to know? It's the US. It's the fucking US. And sure, maybe that was 2 years ago that I checked when I was taking my law class and shit. Or government. I don't know which class brought that up, but that's disturbing. That's truly disturbing because, here in America, there's people from all different backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds. I truly believe everyone's similar in their own different ways, but, whatever. I'm just going by standard protocol, whatever, okay? All different ethnic backgrounds, I'll just quote it. So let's say Asians and Europeans and African Americans, or Africans, and then South Americans, you know, or even Polynesians, right? It's such a diverse place. It's I think they would call it a melting pot when I was taking history or whatever it was. They called it a melting pot of just ethnic backgrounds and all this shit. And if you think about it, a lot of them are refugees or political prisoners, etc. But what's weird is that, so I'm just gonna expand it a bit. Earth is already a prison planet. Colonization, aka terrorism, is global. I shouldn't be speaking English. I should be speaking a native tongue. Neither should I have been taught Spanish. I should have been speaking a native tongue. Yet I speak two colonizer languages. Like, and it's a hard thing to realize too, because, when I was studying in school in San Ramon and shit, I don't know, I think it was my junior year, and I was like, where are all the native people? Like, where are the indigenous people? And that's not to say certain people aren't welcome or this or that to this to Turtle Island and whatnot, but it's more so like, where'd they go? And then I come to realize in like 2020 that they've been genocided and are continued to be genocided to this day. And pretty much last year is when I came to the realization that I myself am indigenous too. You mean to tell me that it took me 18 years due to this fucked up colonizer terrorist system to find out that I myself am indigenous and not an immigrant? Or secondhand immigrant, whatever the fuck they call it. Because South Americans are indigenous to the Americas, okay? It's simple. It's so fucking simple. North Americans are indigenous to North America. And I'm talking about the indigenous people, not just people birthed here. There's a difference. There's a difference. And the fact that so many books have been colonized, the textbooks, it's just, we've been spoon-fed fairy tale lies of how, whether they wanted to paint the Native Americans as savages and, they were murdering each other, they were sacrificing children to the gods, or just complete idiots. When it comes to Machu Picchu or Teotihuacan and Chichen Itza and all these certain things, they'll say, oh, the aliens built it. As if the indigenous people weren't smart enough because they've been living on the land for the longest amount of time and memorizing and mapping and all this shit. As if they couldn't do that themselves. Because they know the land. Meanwhile, the colonizer terrorists are, let's be blunt, idiots. Because look at the buildings we live in now. It doesn't work with the environment. There's literally Proposition 65 saying, oh my god, you might die if you, stay in this building for too long, and if you, breathe in here. They poison our air. They even poison Mother Earth. They genetically modify the food. They poison our water. And I'm not just talking about the jet fuel spill in Hawaii. I'm also speaking in general. And Pipeline 3 and Pipeline 5, Pipeline 3 already leaked. And they knew it was gonna leak. It wasn't a matter of if it's gonna leak. It was a matter of when the fuck is it gonna leak. Did they still go through with that? Did they still arrest the natives and water protectors? Of course. Of course. What were the natives doing? Peacefully protesting. They would play drums, they would sing songs, they would perform their speeches, and what did the pigs do? Arrest them. As if they were committing a crime. They didn't hold any weapons. Them simply existing is seen as a crime. Me simply existing is a crime. This is the world we live in now. And we've been living like this for a while. You know, I believe there's a book, I believe it was called 1492. I still have yet to reach that book and find it and like read it and whatnot, but I've heard about it. And I think it's pretty much talking about when the colonizers first arrived to the Americas, which again, many have mentioned this on TikTok, at least on the native side. You mean to tell me Columbus was going to India, but came to the Americas and thought we were Indians, and now they call native indigenous people Indians? I feel like there's just, what? And America, okay? Turtle Island is now named after an Italian man who I've never heard of in the textbooks. I was never taught that. I was taught that after. I learned that on TikTok. And is it fact? Yes, because I searched it up on Google. You can always search shit up. And the fact that they want to censor us and delete our videos. For example, I reposted this video saying there's no pride in genocide. For example, talking about Thanksgiving. Because it wasn't a peaceful dinner between the pilgrims, aka terrorists, and the natives. It was genocide. It was rape. And it still is. It's still happening. I mean, there's literally man camps where literal people are being trafficked, especially indigenous people. There have been protests, even in Peru, asking where the fuck our children are. But, you know, CPS is here to protect the children, right? Child Protective Services. But I'm just a conspiracy theorist after all, right? I'm just insane, or I'm just having a psychosis. At least that's what you would like to label us, for speaking truth. Where's the freedom of speech? There have been videos of mine that have been taken down. Why? Why is that? Meanwhile, there's pedophiles, there's rapists, there's racists, there's sexists, there's homophobes, etc. posting whatever the fuck they want, and that's fine. Unless we, people like me, literally go out of our way to flag their content, to report their content, and then y'all take it down. But when people like me speak up about indigenous matters, about melanated people, and just POC and marginalized groups in general, suddenly we're the bad guys. Silence is violence, so I refuse to stay silent. Because this is our land. Y'all have completely colonized it. And I don't just mean genociding the people, you've also genocided the plants and brought species of which are not even native to this fucking land. And I'm talking about the plants, even animals, okay? The mongoose in fucking Hawaii. Are you kidding me? And then y'all want to tone us on our tone. Or y'all want to police us on our tone. As if you've treated us well. As if y'all haven't gaslighted literally everything. Television, social media, media in general, which Medea is the goddess of illusion. Okay, just showing you that. right? The textbooks, actual books. Because, for example, I'd want to read something about chakras, and what do I come across? Some colonizer name in front of the textbook. That's not to say, these people haven't gone in depth to study or actually care about the material, because, there's colonizers of all different shades and colors and forms. But what if I actually want to learn from, someone who's actually been practicing that and was grown up and raised in that certain belief system, and who's actually knowledgeable and not just seeing from an outsider perspective with their Western viewpoint? What if I actually want to learn? Not from the colonizer's viewpoint, but from the true viewpoint. No, but instead I want to buy a book about the chakras, and instead I see some different name. Or I want to read something about Peru, colonizer name. Even tarot cards and all this stuff. And again, this isn't to really diss on people who create those things, but we've been erased everywhere. I'm not just talking about indigenous people, I'm talking about melanated folk, POC, any real marginalized group. We're just erased everywhere. Again, that's not to say certain people can't be allies or helpful or kind or this or that or whatever. It just feels wrong to see a name of which is more palatable to the American eye or sounds more palatable to the American ear. And I'm not talking about Turtle Island type indigenous American. I'm talking about, whatever the fuck America is right now. Because it's a mess. It's an absolute fucking mess. And it's disturbing. But it's where we live now. And it's what we live in now. With capitalism, where the rich get richer and Jeff Bezos buys a fucking island in fucking Hawaii. Meanwhile, there's literally homeless people in Hawaii. And I think about 80 or 50% of the houseless population in Hawaii is indigenous to Hawaii. But he gets to own a whole island. But they get to have space wars. Meanwhile, people are starving and hungry, probably sleeping on a cardboard on the floor, but y'all want to say they don't work hard enough. But how are they going to get a job if they aren't presentable? They can't take a fucking shower. They haven't eaten food. Some of them maybe haven't gotten an education. And explain to me how certain people are going to get jobs, but they need to be trained. But they can't be trained unless they get the job. The system it's so amazing. Cheers. Cheers to being $29 trillion in debt in the US. You mean to tell me y'all are wasting money on making jetpacks for the fucking Navy or Marines, whatever the fuck, building jets to go bomb certain places, but y'all aren't terrorists. Meanwhile, there's people literally starving in the streets. And they get kicked out of the streets for being houseless. Where are they supposed to sleep? Y'all look up the restrooms where they could possibly have a little space for themselves to just rest, even just for a little bit. But that's a crime. It's a crime to literally be houseless. Y'all put spikes on benches, that way they don't sleep on there. Or you just build, those little handles, supposedly for armrest. But y'all want to call people like me evil. and crazy and conspiracy theorists. All the evidence is out there, and I could totally pull it up if you'd like, anytime. But, I'm not the type to need evidence. I have empathy, and I see things as they are, which is something y'all don't like. Because when you're called out, y'all would lose whatever power you believe you have. Because you believe you have power. But let's be real, if all of us actually united at some point, and I don't know, something happened, like the protest of which then y'all started shooting at us, maybe things would change, and we wouldn't live in this capitalist society where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Like I said, this doesn't only affect the people, it affects the animals, it affects the plants, it affects Mother Earth. And I wouldn't like to say that's a thing to try and fight against and literally try to destroy. Because Mother Earth is powerful. Despite y'all raping and just destroying her, she still grows. She still spins. Despite y'all poisoning our skies, the sun still shines. And the moon still comes out at night, as well as the stars. Y'all have been trying to hide the sun with a finger. But the light prevails. And it always will. Y'all are just disappointing and sad. Like, it's just sad. It really is. Because the fact that y'all think you've won something or that you are winning is just funny. That's it. It's just funny. Live in a beautiful place and y'all want to destroy it. It's literally perfect. All we have to do is take care of Mother Earth. And Mother Earth provides for us. It's a symbiotic relationship, okay? In case you didn't learn anything. Because maybe they didn't teach you, or you're the very colonizer terrorist watching this video. Symbiotic means a relationship of which there's give and take between two. Okay? She provides us medicine. She provides us food, which again is medicine. She provides us the air we breathe, the water we need, because our bodies are around 80% water. And so is Mother Earth. But y'all want to also poison the oceans? Like, the ocean wasn't just on fire in 2020. Y'all literally lit the ocean on fire. That's how much oil. But y'all want to call people like me evil. Meanwhile, y'all literally lit the ocean on fire. Leaked jet fuel into Hawaii's water supply. Arrest water protectors at Pipeline 3 and 5. But we're the bad guys. But that doesn't make the news, right? What about how literally the US got charged with 5 counts of genocide? And we're $29 trillion in debt. 5 counts of genocide for the US, and we're $29 trillion in debt. But you want to pay us like $15 an hour? I was getting paid $8 an hour in Florida. And when I was 16, I was getting paid $12 an hour to slave away, to literally break my arms carrying jeans that weigh a lot because I say I'm not strong, but let's be real. Do you think that carrying jeans that are like maybe 10 pounds because there's so many of them is good for a 16-year-old? That is child labor, which is, again, slavery, just in case your little mind can't fucking process that. A 16-year-old is a child. The brain, us, we don't fully mature until the age of 26. Therefore, me right now, almost turning 19, is still a child. Is still maturing, is still evolving. But y'all want to say people like me are bad, and that we're crazy, and that we're having a psychosis. If that's what helps you sleep at night, good for you. Even the mental health system that y'all created was against the native indigenous people. Don't think I haven't come to that. Because they were able to speak to the spirit realm. They were able to do magic. I'm not saying they can't now, but, you know, so much has been colonized and genocided. So no wonder you had to take them out. And continue to. Because even them just existing is continuing the lineage of which you thought you could completely genocide. Thought. And think you still can completely genocide. Unless it works out for you. Because, you know, melanin actually costs more than gold. There's literally gold in our blood. In our system. Our bodies are literally made of gold. All of this is just basic knowledge. I could go in depth, but there's no need. Because I'm not trying to complicate things the way y'all do, where y'all twist the words and, you know, just completely gaslight and invalidate individuals. Which is a crime against humanity. Psychological abuse is still abuse. Therefore, y'all are still terrorists. But we're the bad guys. So, I'm the bad guy. Duh. Anyway. For you, I look happy and healthy. Love me if you ever cared to ask.